No Bull is a sports talk podcast that primarily focuses on track and field, with a particular emphasis on upcoming athletes in high school and in the Caribbean. Hosted by Gary Bullard and Courtney Sinclair, the podcast covers a range of topics including news, results, controversies, and other sports as well. With a no-nonsense approach, No Bull provides insightful and entertaining commentary on the latest happenings in the world of sports.
Hey, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another episode of No Bull. I am Courtney with my co-host Gary. We will kick off today by introducing our new top 3 picks of athletes that we're watching. Gary, go ahead and kick us off. Give me your top 3.
Well, thank you, Courtney. So last time I spoke about our top Bahamian quarter miler, not only in the Bahamas in the world, Shernay Miller-Weibo. Now let me switch over to our men's top quarter miler, not only in the Bahamas, but in the whole wide world, Stephen Gardner. So last year he was off. He was injured. So he wasn't able to defend his world championship belt that he won not only in 2017, but 2019. Okay, so he's back. He ran a 200-meter race, 20.1. Yes, 20.1 in his first race. So some of the stats for Stephen after Courtney, what's the guy's name in Australia, the quarter miler that won in 2016 from Australia? He ran in lane 7 or 8, and he beat everybody. And he had a good rest of the year, 2016, right. 2017. Then he hurt his ankle in a promotional soccer meet, and he's just getting back. So he could be. I'm talking with Stephen, but he could be probably one of the ones that battles Stephen, along with Greg Norman and the guy from Barbados. But I know his back.
Are you sure he was Australian?
Yeah, Australian.
I think you meant South Africa, Van Niekerk.
South Africa, yes.
Yeah, that's why you got me a little bit confused.
Sorry about that.
As a matter of fact, just to cut you off, he's one of my top 3 that I'm watching this year.
Oh my gosh, really?
Because he actually has the fastest time in the world so far in the quarter.
Yeah, he ran a 44.01 or something like that?
44.17.
Yes.
So that is go ahead and give me the rest of your picks.
But with Stephen, just to finish off, he's starting off the year really well with the 20.01, which of course he needs a speed for the quarter. So I'm glad that he's back, and like I said, it's going to be tough, but Bahamas and our conch will win out on the quarter, I expect, in the World Championships. Next, not an up-and-comer, but someone that wowed me last year, and of course this is another male. This is a U.S. 200-meter champion, Noah Lyles. I'm expecting big things from him this year. We spoke before about Noah. I think that he's going to break Blake's record, the 19.26. He may get close to Usain Bolt's, but I think he may leave that for next year during the Olympics. He has figured out the formula, as we saw at the end of last year, running the curve, beating almost everybody in the curve, and just slamming it with his strength in the last 100 meters. So he's figured it out. So until someone else figures it out, no one is going to beat him in the big races. Absolutely no one. Okay, so that's my pick for the 200. I know that he wants to run more hundreds. They put him on a 4x1. I don't have a problem with that. He's going to be splattering some 4x4s there for strength in the 200. But again, I don't see anybody as a factor in the 200 against Noah Lyles. And my third pick is a young chat from Freeport in the Bahamas. This is a 6'2", 185-pound sprinter, and his name is Terrence Jones, and he goes to my alma mater, Texas Tech. He's just a sophomore, but he just won the NCAA 60 meters in a 6.45. Very impressive. Last year, he ran a 10.03 in the 100, 20.05 in the 200. Respectable numbers for a freshman right out of Freeport in the Bahamas. So this young Chad is only 20 years old. So I'm expecting him with the increased training that he's getting over there at Texas Tech, and being in that conference, with Texas and Baylor, all those powerhouses. He is going to be something to look forward to this year and also next year in the Olympics. Really excited about him. His height, he has a really good, nice, strong, powerful strides. And like I said, he kicked everybody's butt in that 60 meters. So let's see how he does in the 100 and outdoor. He has a heavy workload at any university. Running the 100, running the 200, running the 4x1, and he also runs the 4x4. So he's going to have, like my girl White Lightning, he's going to be running over 50 races this year. So that's going to build him up. Like I said, he's just a sophomore. So he has 2 more years in college. So those are my top 3, Courtney.
Alrighty, so like I mentioned before, I mentioned Van Niekerk, Quaid Van Niekerk, world and Olympic champion, record holder. He's been injured for the past several years, and this year he seems to be back on track, running some exceptional time, has the fastest time in the world this year. And I'm just expecting big. As a matter of fact, he trains with your number 1 pick, Noah Lyles, for the 200. They're training partners. They're in the same stable. So I'm expecting big thing from both guys, from Noah and from Wade. My second pick, believe it or not, is Gabby Thomas. I just watched her at the Texas Relays, won both the 1 and the 200. In the 200, she ran a time of 22:46. And this is her pet event. So she's running the 1 to build up her speeds for the 2. Last year was definitely off year for her, so I'm expecting big things from her this year. And hopefully we'll see if she's back on track or not, but so far she's looking good. My third pick, believe it or not, I was going between Johan Blake, second fastest man in the world, who has, to Bolt. Somehow he seems to be back. He's won a few meets, development meets in Jamaica recently, and he's not looking too bad. With Johan, there are a couple. I'm going to lump him in with 3 other young Jamaican athletes that could challenge him for the Jamaican team. So we have Johan Blake. There's another young guy named Akeem Blake. He's going to be at the Miramar Invitational this weekend, which I'm planning to go to the meet to see how things turn out. And there's Oblique Seville, who is apparently the heir apparent to Bolt. So these are the 3 guys that I'm watching out of Jamaica that are on the senior level. Last week we spoke about 2 young Jamaicans, high school athletes, who just ran some exceptional times. There was a young girl out of Hydale High School who won the Class 1, which is a senior age group for high school athletes in Jamaica. She ran at 10:92 to win the Class 100 meters. That time is better than a lot of senior female athletes in the world right now. And she's only 18 years old. Then there is a young guy out of my alma mater in Jamaica, Kingston College, Boaji and Kumi. He ran a 9:99. He came second in the under 20 World Championships last year. And I believe he may go pro and challenge some of those senior guys for a spot on the Jamaica World Championship team. So he has two options. Either he's going to go pro or he's going to go back to the under 20 World Championships. Because Tobago really demolished him last year and turned around and looked at him and laughed at him. So he feels that he's ready to go back and put up a good challenge. So overall, those are the athletes. I know I said 3, but I went probably 4 or 5. But those are the athletes that I'm looking forward to seeing how their year progress and what they could do this year. Any other things you got on your mind?
Well, I'm just gonna put a no bull stamp on Blake. I think he still holds the record in the 200, and unlike the female Jamaican sprinters that not only dominated at home, they dominated in the world.
Right.
Blake has not done that. He has not done that for umpteen years.
Yes.
He is still viable. He's still viable for the 4x1, but I don't see him cracking top 5 or 6. I expect Seville to do more of that. I mean, Seville came 4th in the World Championships last year.
Yes.
4th or 5th. So, I mean, he was right there. So I expect him to do much, much better than Blake. I don't know. I don't know if he's, taking some, some new age vegetables there in Jamaica. But, what I've seen year after year over the last 6-7 years, I haven't seen Blake, really make a difference so far. This past weekend, we did see a lot of American sprinters, like you said, Gabby Thomas. She ran 100 and 200. Wasn't really against anybody notable. So I'm reserved on that. I loved it 2 years ago. She got a little hurt last year. But White Lightning is here. So, she's running for second, maybe third for the U.S. Behind White Lightning, for sure. Because, she hasn't... I've never seen Gabby. Has Gabby run under 22 seconds? She did, right? She ran a 21.9 or 21.8?
I believe she did. I believe she has, yeah.
Okay.
And, the 22.46 is not a time to be sneezed at this year either. That's one of the fastest times on the female side so far this year.
I agree, but again, it's the beginning of the outdoor track season. We have a good solid 2.5 months to go before we start, seeing some serious times and being able to make some predictions for the World Championships in the late summer. So, but I was impressed with Prandini on the curve. She ran another sweet curve. White Lightning ran a outstanding 100 meters. TT ran a decent 100 as well, but I'm just impressed with, like I said, with a White Lightning, the way she ran that 100 in that 4x1. But
excuse me one second. It's kind of difficult though to gauge their actual times because these are relay events. They're not running the first leg and that kind of stuff. So it's kind of difficult to gauge what their actual times would be. Even Sha'Carri looked good. So it all depends.
I'm not really going off of time. I'm going off the way they looked with them. Say Abby, she caught somebody. So she catch somebody that staggered. That's a big deal. Prandini she did the same thing she did last year. I mean, I know Jamaicans are not happy, and they're still talking about that 4x1. But Prandini beat Mommy Rocket in that third leg. I don't like Mommy Rocket on that third leg. I like Mommy Rocket either in the first leg, where she's starting, where she's one of the fastest starters, or on the anchor. But she got the baton first before Prandini, but Prandini handed it off before Mommy Rocket, which means what? She got beat on the curve. So, and there's all kind of different things going on there as far as between Harrod Thompson, how they handled it with the baton, but Mommy Rocket got the baton first before Prandini. So I'm expecting the Jamaican Association to do a little bit more when they set up that 4x1 for the World Championships, because they don't want that to happen again. I know for a fact.
That's the issue we have with the Jamaican squad. So we have Shelly Ann, we have Elaine, we have Sharika. That fourth spot is a spot that's up for grabs. It could be Brianna, it could be Kivona, it could be Kemba Nelson. There are about 10 athletes.
Wow, that's crazy.
that could grab that fourth spot.
That's crazy.
So it's difficult to say who it's going to be. I just watched Ashanti Moore. She came second in that Texas relay. She won her heat, but based on time. I think she came either second or third based on time in the 200. That's another Jamaican runner. So they're all over. There's Brianna Liston, who's now at LSU, a young girl who we haven't seen much of her yet, but she's one I believe you should watch out for. She had excellent times. This is her freshman year at LSU. She was on the last leg, the anchor leg for when they won that the championship at the meet they just had. And excellent runner, very good form, looking for great things from her. So at the Miramar Invitational this weekend, I think Brianna is going to be there. She's going to be running against Sha'Carri in the 100. Sharika, I believe, is going to be doing, I'm not sure if she's going to be doing the 2 or the 4. We have Ramel, who's going to be running against Akeem Blake. Not Johan, but Akeem.
Right.
So there are a lot of interesting meets, and this should give us a better gauge as to where it's still early in the season, but it should give us a good gauge as to where these athletes are in the early part of the season, and what they need to develop on.
I agree. What did you think about how Sha'Carri Richardson was extremely toned and cut right up? I've never seen her body like that since LSU. What does that tell you anything?
She definitely has talent. I think fame got to her a little bit. They kind of said, "Here, you're a star," and she didn't know how to handle it, and she went off the rails. If she takes her time and she focuses on just running, let the running do your talking. Don't talk in the media. Don't talk on Twitter. Don't talk on social media. Just let your running do the talking. She could be one to do stuff this year. The jury's still out on her, because from that high that she was on to where she ended up at the end of the year, she didn't, she got beat in just about every race. The 1 or 2 races that she won, nobody was in it. So it's very difficult to say where she's at this year. Once we start seeing her in some top class competition, then we could have a better gauge as to if she's back or not. But she's good for the sport. So I hope she's back.
I don't know if she's back. I just saying that her appearance, with her body being so toned and so cut, versus the previous 2 or 3 years. But as far as her mind, she's definitely not there yet, because, I think her and Gabby got the stick almost the same time when she got it. I think she got the stick like half a step, a full step behind Gabby. and she got up on the side of Gabby, and she beat Gabby, but she put her hand out, to the right, pointing towards Gabby. So to me, she hasn't learned that much. But
Right.
but I'm thinking that maybe her training will have her being more consistent with running 10-7, 10-8 like she did 2 years ago. That's the only thing I'm looking for, to see if she can be consistent.
Right. Well, let's see. Let's see.
Yeah.
It's gonna be interesting. And I guess once if she starts having performances on the track, then the people in her camp will be able to get on her and say, "Look, you're doing good. Let's not mess this up again. Let's stay focused." And sky's the limit for her.
Well, like I said, we can only hope. Like I said, we're not sure who in her camp she listens to, if at all. But she would be a terrible talent to waste, for sure.
Yep.
She would be a terrible talent. And like I said, there's only a handful of female sprinters that remotely can, go up against the Jamaican sprinters. And the Jamaicans, they have, like so many different levels of females and age brackets coming up that, it's like a wave. It's like if there was an army, there's no way you would beat them, because they come at you in waves, so that's how other people have to start thinking.
Quick question for you. In all this talk about the 400, Van Niekerk and Gardner, what do you think of Karsten Warholm?
So, like, I think that because of people like Sydney say that she wants to run the quarter now, a Bowl from the Netherlands is running more quarters, and I think he's now saying, okay, he's done X amount in the quarter hurdles. Let's see how he can do in the 400. I think he'll do well. I think he'll do well, but I maybe for next year Olympics, I just have to see him run a few races here. As far as time,
Right.
Van Kirk ran a 44:01 his first meet a week ago, which is outstanding. Absolutely outstanding. I mean, you can't say that he's, is he in top shape? That's his first race of the year. Oh my gosh! So,
and you got to remember that this guy's been out for what, 4 years, just about. He's been out for quite a while.
Well, it hasn't been that long. It's just he had some hiccups, because he came back like 2 years ago, but he had a hiccup.
Right.
Last year he ran, but he just didn't make it. He made it to the finals of the quarter, but after the 300, those guys showed out off on him. So yeah, it has taken some time for him to come back, and God forbid, he stays healthy. God blesses for him, so that he can be up there in the top, and in the top 3.
And do you think Karani James is done?
Well, just like the Jamaican women's sprinters, this man has had a long season. Not a long season, but a long
career. Yeah.
Long career, and I haven't. I mean, he almost won it. He almost won the quarter last year. So, no, I haven't seen anything out of him that says that he should retire or he's beating everybody in the world.
Yep.
So no, he's a magnificent athlete. Magnificent.
Yeah, I wish. I'm looking forward to. There are 2 events, like I said, I'm looking forward to this weekend. The Carifta Games, which are the junior championships for Caribbean athletes, under 20 athletes. It's going to be happening in your hometown, Nassau, the Bahamas.
Yes.
Friday, Saturday, and I believe maybe some events on Sunday. And then we have the Miramar Invitational. So those two meets should give us a good barometer as to where athletes are stacked up. I'm looking to see if this young girl that won the Jamaican Championships, 1092, Alana Reed, if she could back that up. We spoke about Adeja Hodge, the young girl out of the Virgin Islands, to see how she could do. She blistered some great time in the New Balance meetup in Boston a couple weeks ago. The guys, your young guys out of the Bahamas, I watched their Carifta qualifying meet. So I don't know where they are as the next crop of athletes coming through for the Bahamas, but I could definitely tell you one country or one region that's definitely doing bits are the Virgin Islands. They have gone and sent their coaches to Jamaica, to GC Foster College, and gotten their coaching badges, and they're doing some good things in the islands. Trinidad always has, in the field events, always does pretty good. Not necessarily, they have one or two good sprinters, but overall not a very strong team. The Bahamas is always there. I don't know what it is. For as small as the Bahamas is, they produce fantastic athletes year in and year out. Going back to, I remember Debbie Ferguson and athletes like that going way back. So it's always the Bahamas, always get a few medals at Worlds, always get a few medals at the Olympics. Jamaica is always there in the sprints. I think the next step for us to develop is the middle distances, the 800s, the 1500s, the 3000s. I think we're moving into that event. We even started to win medals in the field events.
The shot put, the long jump.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, like I said, Jamaica's the hotbed, but like you mentioned about the Virgin Islands, you have the girl at University of Texas that won the 60 meters. She won the 200. She broke light.
Oh, Alfred, I didn't realize she was. I didn't realize she was Virgin Island.
Yeah. So I mean, but they've figured it out. Success breeds what? Success.
Breeds success. Yeah.
So they go to Jamaican coaches are in hot demand. They're doing this. They're doing that with X amount of athletes. So so why not get some of that knowledge if you can? So.
Oh, she's not from the Virgin Islands. She's from St. Lucia.
St. Lucia.
St. Lucia. Okay. I didn't know that. Okay, but yeah, definitely. You have a few athletes from different islands popping up, and that will only lead to more success, like you said, because you see one person do it, you say, "Hey, if they could do it, why can't I do it?" So that's a good look. Definitely a good look.
Right. So I mean, you have so many athletes coming for outdoor. Like I said, I think an indoor stadium in Jamaica would be do good. Maybe in Montego Bay or somewhere out there. Where you can have a lot of tourists come there at the same time. A lot of athletes coming for a nice big meet there, indoor that qualify, something of that nature. Where you have under 20 going there, and then of course one big meet for senior athletes.
Definitely something for the track people in Jamaica, the JAAA's, Jamaica Amateur Athletic Association, to take a look at and see if they can, if it's feasible. I mean, the fact that we're a warm country and we all, we run outdoors all year, I don't know if that's going to be a hindrance to that or not, or if it will be feasible to actually do a indoor stadium. But definitely something to look at. Would be interesting.
What about the first world's retractable indoor stadium? I'm serious. You have the retractable roof. If it's not that hot, you open that bad boy up. Oh my gosh, we're running outdoors indoor.
Yeah, definitely.
With the boards and the 60 meters. So
definitely something feasible.
Yeah.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, you mentioned that they are having second year. It's totally different subject, but they're having their second year cycling championships in Jamaica.
Wow.
Yep. Last year, I believe they had like 100 cyclists. This year it's grown to, I believe, 300 competitors.
Wow.
So definitely, the Caribbean is definitely a hotbed for a lot of innovative sports. So I don't see why the indoor track couldn't work. Could be something quite interesting.
Absolutely. So, Courtney, I know that we're running out of time here, but we have a lot to talk about. So after this next weekend, when we get back together next week, we'll have a lot of information for our loyal listeners.
Definitely. Like I said, this weekend we have the Miramar Invitational. We'll get a good feel for what the athletes are doing. We have the Caribbean Games to take a look at the juniors. We haven't focused a lot on the European athletes yet, but it probably the European circuit is going to be starting up pretty soon. So it's a good. We'll start to get a better gauge as to who's where, who's going good, and all that stuff. Right now it's just speculation, but once it gets going full swing, then we'll definitely have a much better gauge as to who's doing what and who, and then we can start giving our early season predictions for Worlds and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. So as we're signing off here with Courtney and myself, Gary, and this is the No Bull. Thank you.
Nope. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.